Marriage, an institution in which man loses his bachelor's degree and the woman gets her master's. The most effective way to remember your wife's birthday is to forget it once. Good evening, everybody. I'm Ben Duckworth, Dana's dad and now Ryan's father-in-law. Just letting you know that because neither of them may want to admit that after I'm finished with this speech. Thank you all for joining us for this special event to celebrate Dana and Ryan's recent wedding. I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you a story, a fairy tale, if you will. Once upon a time, on a cool November day, in a faraway place called Buffalo, in the state of New York, in the US of A, a beautiful little princess was born. She was happy from the moment she entered the world. She continued to grow and was a beautiful, happy, smart little girl that brought so much joy to her parents as she grew. Thoughtful and kind, loving and tender. She grew to be a woman that the king and queen were very proud of. More recently, on a sunny day on May 16th, 2014 to be precise, on an enchanted island, the young princess and her dashing prince made the ultimate commitment to each other during a very beautiful, small wedding ceremony and joined hands in marriage. These two had known from the time they were introduced to each other that they were meant to be together. They began to court, and as they got to know each other, they became inseparable. Not only did they fall deeply in love, they also became best friends. After a period of courting, the prince approached the king and asked for his daughter's hand in marriage. The king was happily surprised that the prince would be so honorable as to actually ask for his daughter's hand. Although he was already happy with how his daughter's courtship was going, this was a sure sign that the prince was the right suitor for his very special princess. The king told the prince that he and the queen would be very happy to have him ask for his daughter's hand, but there were no guarantees with the princess. She had a mind of her own. The prince also talked to the king of a place that was very special in the kingdom that he would like to ask the princess this very important question. He'd like to journey to the highest peak in all the land, where many wonderful things had happened in the princess's family history. The peak was called Old Glory. A short while later, on August 1st, 2013, the fair young princess and her nervous prince set out on their journey to the summit of Old Glory. He had a ring in his pocket, and he grew more nervous with each step towards the top. He hoped she'd agree, but again, the princess had a mind of her own. At the elevation of 7,792 feet, on that fine sunny summer day, the prince asked the princess for her hand in marriage, and without hesitation, she accepted. When the news spread across the land, all the kingdom rejoiced. The young happy couple began to make plans for the wedding day. They talked of a grand ceremony with many of the subjects from across the kingdom. They also talked of the wedding taking place in 2 years' time and how hundreds of people would attend. But they were actually plotting and planning for a ceremony that was small and quaint with just their parents and siblings. A ceremony that would take place much sooner than they were discussing in public. The two were planning every detail and even made up an elaborate story to trick their parents in attending so that they could surprise them with their secret plans on the actual day of the wedding. The princess announced at a breakfast what the day would hold, and with that, the special day unfolded. It was a perfect day. It included flying to a corner of the realm on a secluded island, short preparations to dress for the occasion, a romantic seaside ceremony, and a delicious banquet. Again, that day was perfect. There were smiles and laughters, tears of joy, and love was everywhere. Dana and Ryan, that day could not be more perfect, and I will cherish the memories of that day forever. There goes the alarm again. Dana, you've grown to be the most amazing woman, and I could not possibly be any more proud of you. You are my first child, and I've always done my best to raise you right and be the father that you deserve. My intentions have always been to be a dad that you can count on, even when times are not so great, to support your decisions even when I think they might be, well, let's just say not what I would do. To comfort with you when things don't go your way. To keep you safe from the dark, dogs, cars, boats, motorcycles, earthquakes, fires, choking, disease. Trains on train bridges. Water, strangers, and anything else that could harm you in any way. Especially the one thing in particular that stands above all things that could harm you the most, which everyone here knows in the room knows, is boys. But now, Dana, that you have found your true love, I can finally sleep at night knowing that you have found a man that loves and treasures you the way you should be. I'd like to welcome Ryan to our family, and I'm again filled with pride knowing that you, Ryan, are my son-in-law, and I can see you will take care of my daughter the way I'd hoped she would be. I'd like to offer the two of you a few words of advice to hopefully help you in your journey together. Things that I think have made my wife, Lisa, and I very happy in our years together. Number one, never take each other for granted. Number two, you must always put the other first. Number three, apologize and admit when you're wrong. Ryan.
I'm never wrong.
Never ever go to sleep mad at each other. And Ryan, this one is really more for you as the male in the relationship. Be a good listener. My wife Lisa used to say, I never listen. Or something like that. Be best friends. You can't go wrong being best friends with the love of your life. Spend as much time as you can together. Life is short and fragile. Number 8, walk through life side by side. Don't lead or push each other. Number 9, never ever bring up old arguments or mistakes. It doesn't change anything. And number 10, the last thing that I'll offer today as advice as you enter this new and exciting life together as Mr. and Mrs. Dolan. Always, always, always get your dad / father-in-law the biggest and best gifts you possibly can. Please raise your glass in a toast to Mr. and Mrs. Dolan with me now.
Aww. Hear, hear!